Alice Cooper, the theatrical shock rocker, was more than a performer. He was a carefully crafted mask hiding the fragile boy inside. Vincent Damon Fournier, the man behind the makeup, transformed himself into a symbol of rebellion, fear, and spectacle. With snakes, guillotines, and blood-soaked theatrics, the world saw chaos, but it was a deliberate performance born from childhood pain and emotional struggle. Now at 77, the makeup fades, the screams have quieted, and the persona that once protected him is less necessary. The reality of Vincent's life, the trauma, addictions, and isolation becomes more visible. His story isn't simply about fame or theatrics. It is about survival, identity, and the hidden cost of maintaining a persona that both saved him and nearly destroyed him over decades of performing. Childhood shadows and early struggles. Vincent's early life in Phoenix, Arizona was shaped by illness, strict religious upbringing, and a sense of isolation that few could see. As a preacher's son, he was expected to conform to a structured moral life, but chronic sickness kept him from fully participating in childhood, fostering feelings of alienation. He found solace in horror comics and imagination, planting the seeds of creativity and darkness that would later become Alice Cooper. The combination of physical frailty and emotional disconnection left him deeply sensitive and introspective. Young Vincent internalized his pain, realizing early on that the outside world could not accommodate the intensity of his feelings. These formative experiences shaped his understanding of identity and survival, leading him to envision a self capable of confronting fear and chaos. From the beginning, Vincent understood the need for a protective mask, a role that would eventually evolve into Alice Cooper. The birth of Alice Cooper High School became the crucible for Vincent's transformation. Music and performance offered an outlet for his repressed emotions, leading him to form a band called the Earwigs, which eventually became Alice Cooper. Adopting this persona was not merely a creative choice, it was psychological survival. Alice was fearless, loud, and unrestrained, giving Vincent a way to channel his trauma without being consumed by it. The mask allowed him to externalize fear, pain, and rebellion in a controlled environment, giving him a semblance of power over his internal struggles. On stage, Alice could scream, shock, and terrify, but Vincent could step back and remain safe. The persona became a lifeline, a barrier between him and a world that had offered both neglect and judgment, while also sowing the seeds for the challenges of fame that would later intertwine with his personal demons. The price of fame. As Alice Cooper rose to superstardom in the 1970s, Vincent found the protective persona becoming a trap. The blurring lines between self and character intensified under the constant glare of fame, with relentless tours, recording schedules, and theatrical expectations pressuring him to maintain a persona that was increasingly destructive. The persona that once shielded him from childhood trauma now demanded constant performance, leaving little room for vulnerability. Vincent turned to alcohol and drugs to cope with the overwhelming stress, attempting to numb the anxiety and fear that had always been part of his psyche. These substances offered temporary relief, but deepened the separation between Vincent the man and Alice the character, creating a cycle of addiction, isolation, and internal conflict that would define his life for years. Addiction and identity collapse. The late 1970s brought Vincent to the brink of destruction. The mix of fame, constant performance, and unresolved trauma pushed him into a dangerous spiral of substance abuse. Alcohol became a tool for survival, but it also accelerated his decline, leading to blackouts, erratic behavior, and periods where even his bandmates feared for his life. Cocaine, pills, and hallucinogens offered temporary escape, yet compounded the sense of disorientation. The man who had created Alice Cooper as a shield was now trapped by the character he had invented. On stage, the theatrics continued to thrill audiences, but offstage, Vincent struggled with identity collapse. He became unable to separate performance from reality, and the persona that had once saved him now threatened his health, relationships, and very existence. Survival required more than fame. It demanded confronting both the man and the monster simultaneously. The turning point: love and recovery. Vincent's salvation began not with rehab, but with love. Cheryl Goddard entered his life in the late 1970s, offering stability, patience, and unwavering support. She recognized the frightened boy beneath the stage persona and helped Vincent confront the addictions and internal chaos that had nearly destroyed him. Cheryl's insistence on honesty, accountability, and emotional work became a lifeline for Vincent, pulling him from the brink and giving him a reason to rebuild his life. Recovery was gradual, with setbacks and challenges, but it marked a critical turning point. Love offered Vincent a way to reconnect with his humanity and regain control over his life. The bond they formed became a foundation for navigating fame, addiction, and personal trauma, while teaching him that survival required both internal work and external support. Family, faith, and reconstruction. Marriage and fatherhood added complexity to Vincent's journey. Raising 3 children, Calico, Dash, and Sonora, forced him to balance the intensity of performance with parental responsibility, often stretching him emotionally. He learned to navigate relationships and offer protection to his family while managing lingering addictions and psychological scars. Faith also played a central role in his ongoing recovery, helping him find grounding and meaning beyond the chaos of rock and roll. Spiritual reflection offered perspective, allowing him to face his past and approach challenges with introspection. Yet even with love, family, and faith, Vincent carried the weight of decades of trauma, reminding him that survival comes at an ongoing emotional cost, and that the mask of Alice Cooper could never fully erase the scars of his early life and addiction. The loneliness behind the mask. Even in later life, Vincent confronts the subtle but profound loneliness that accompanies survival. With grown children, long-term marriage, and a career winding down, the man behind Alice Cooper experiences quiet despair in moments when the stage is empty, the crowds are gone, and the persona is stored away. The same energy that once electrified audiences now manifests in reflection and solitude, highlighting the cost of decades spent performing and managing dual identities. Aging has brought physical and cognitive challenges, limiting his ability to tour and perform. Friends note a reclusive nature, with Vincent choosing privacy over public appearances. These realities reveal that even legends are vulnerable to isolation, the hidden companion of a life spent carrying both fame and trauma, and that the cost of survival extends far beyond overcoming addiction or reclaiming personal agency. Legacy and reflection. Alice Cooper's impact on music and pop culture is undeniable. Yet Vincent Furnier's personal story offers a deeper, more nuanced understanding of his legacy. He created a persona that influenced generations, but the human cost of this creation is often overlooked. The years lost to fear, addiction, and the relentless pressure of performance are memories that cannot be erased, and the emotional toll remains with him. Vincent reflects on missed moments, strained relationships, and private battles fought in silence, reminding us that immortality in art does not shield against human vulnerability. His life underscores that survival and artistry are intertwined with pain, and that even icons must reconcile with aging, mortality, and the emotional consequences of the paths they chose. The final act. At 77, Vincent faces a quieter stage, one without pyrotechnics, screaming fans, or guillotines. This final act is not about spectacle, but introspection, honesty, and reckoning with a life lived at the edge of performance and survival. He stands as a survivor, a man who endured childhood trauma, addiction, identity collapse, and the unrelenting pressures of fame. The mask that once saved him now coexists with vulnerability and reflection. His story is a testament to resilience, showing that survival is possible, though never without cost. Alice Cooper, the stage persona, remains immortal in the public eye, while Vincent Furnier, the man, confronts the quiet truths of existence, legacy, and human fragility, leaving a narrative as haunting as it is inspiring. Conclusion: humanity beneath the horror. The tragedy of Alice Cooper is the juxtaposition of spectacle and human vulnerability. Vincent Damon Fournier created a persona that saved him from his fears, yet the same persona almost consumed him. Behind the masks, makeup, and stage props lies a man who endured pain, addiction, and isolation to survive. Love, family, and faith provided lifelines, yet scars remain, echoing decades of struggle. His legacy is double-edged, immortalized in rock history, yet deeply human in its fragility. The story reminds us that behind every icon is a life lived with both triumph and heartbreak, and that survival, even when achieved, carries its own quiet, ongoing burden, a weight that Vincent Fournier continues to carry with dignity, reflection, and resilience.